CareerSource Florida, and thank you for letting me join you today. It's a wonderful opportunity to address this committed group of leaders from across Florida, helping to ensure young Floridians with disabilities, particularly intellectual disabilities, have a path to post-secondary education to develop both knowledge and skills that can lead to employment opportunities. I so appreciate being able to join you in this year's virtual institute, where I get to share a little bit more about my favorite topic, the CareerSource Florida Network, and the work we do to help Floridians, including Floridians with disabilities, connect to employment and careers. So today I want to share a little bit more about who CareerSource Florida is and what we do, and how we can help your students who want to go to work by connecting them to services and resources available throughout the state workforce network. CareerSource Florida is the state's workforce policy and investment board. Our board is appointed by the governor and represents a cross-section of both industry leaders and other representatives who have a stake in Florida's talent system. Our vision is that Florida will be the global leader for talent. It recognizes that Florida plays a role not just on a regional stage, but across the world. And our important mission to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and Floridians with employment and career development opportunities to achieve economic prosperity. What's so great about that mission is it begins with a focus on employers. To provide good jobs and meaningful careers, we must have meaningful relationship with Florida employers, but ends with that critical focus on economic prosperity. We want Floridians to prosper, that ultimately helps our state prosper. Now, the law that enables our workforce system is pretty special. I'm a lawyer by trade and often go back to read the big books to figure out what is it that we're here to do and what is the expectation we're seeking to accomplish. And the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act that enables our system is special because it gives us a goal right there in the law and the text, not something a lot of laws do. The goal to increase the prosperity of workers and employers, to reduce welfare dependency, increase economic self-sufficiency, meet employer needs, and enhance productivity and competitiveness. Now, I know that's a big goal, but what's great about it is that all groups can see themselves in this goal and agree on it. We focus on employers. We're looking to reduce welfare dependency. There's a piece in that all of us can agree upon and work towards. Florida's workforce system is established by both state and federal law, including that Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act that I mentioned, as well as Chapter 445 of Florida statutes. The State Workforce Board, the CareerSource Florida Board of Directors, is the principal workforce policy organization, and we're joined by the Department of Economic Opportunity and 24 local workforce development boards representing nearly 100 career centers where job seekers, workers, and businesses go for assistance with employment and training needs. And so together, all of these circles make up the CareerSource Florida network. My favorite part of my job is being able to work with 24 local workforce development boards committed to their communities across the state. If you aren't already connected to your local workforce board, please let me know. I'd love to make that connection for you. And I am so proud to have joining me today leaders from 2 of these boards who I'll introduce shortly. You'll get to hear from them about their team's work to assist Floridians with disabilities, including those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So again, our enabling legislation that I mentioned that's so special, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, also helped us enhance our focus on Floridians with disabilities. A major part of that law is our strategic plan for workforce development, our Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, which we also call WIOA, 4-year plan. That plan, sorry, I'm getting a little feedback in the field there. This plan is created in collaborative fashion with our partners at the Division of Blind Services, the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, and Career and Adult Education. It provides us a roadmap for how we will serve job seekers, workers, and employers in Florida, including how we assist people with barriers to employment, such as those with disabilities. And what we do in that plan is identify strategies such as sector partnerships or sector strategies, career pathways. It includes a focus on work-based learning, including apprenticeship, and on the job training. that are important to achieving our mission and our governor's goal for Florida to be the #1 state for workforce education by 2030. So we have a brand new plan that was just approved earlier this year that includes the state priorities for assisting Floridians with disabilities, who are among the opportunity groups that we seek to support by helping them to gain education, to gain skills, and ultimately employment that can lead to the end of that goal, that economic prosperity. The plan also underscores our network's commitment to performance and accountability. What gets measured gets done. And in fact, one of the system priorities for the State Workforce Development Board is ensuring local workforce development boards focus on opportunities to assist individuals with barriers to employment, including those with disabilities. The state board has established a performance program that rewards boards that do well in areas such as serving individuals with barriers to employment and engaging with businesses in sectors that are critical to a diverse economy for Florida, setting us up for competitiveness and growth. We know from that data in the most recently completed fiscal year, the network served over 2,000 individuals with a disability, and over 1,700 individuals with a disability were provided training or the opportunity to further their education by the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. One of the most important services that our local workforce development boards provide are those services to job seekers. And today, those services are available virtually or in person. Your local workforce development board can help with resumes, preparing for interviews, career coaching, training for in-demand occupations and careers, and connecting with employers committed to inclusive workplaces by hiring Floridians with disabilities. Career centers also offer customized support to Floridians who self-identify as having a disability. And for example, career centers are staffed by disability services specialists who are knowledgeable about local programs and services that are specifically designed to assist Floridians with disabilities with their skill development and employment needs. And that includes understanding the opportunities to access services directly available through the workforce system and other partners, like our partners in the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. At least 17 of our 24 local workforce boards offer the Ticket to Work program that you may be familiar with. It's available to job seekers ages 18 to 64 who receive supplemental security income or Social Security disability insurance and are seeking to become economically self-sufficient by achieving part-time or full-time work. And these participants, known as ticket holders, receive employment services such as career and financial counseling, resume assistance, job readiness workshops, educational training options, business meetups. So there's a wide variety of services available to those individuals. So some of our partners, our guests, who you're going to hear from shortly, can talk about their Ticket to Work programs and other services and initiatives. But as I mentioned before, in order for us to have good jobs and meaningful careers available to Floridians, we have to have robust business partnerships. And the CareerSource Florida Network is proud of its commitment to serving Florida's business community. We listen to their needs. We need to both understand what will help them grow and thrive today and in the future. So for businesses, a local workforce development board can help with recruiting, training, and hiring. And that's particularly important to this audience today because today's leading businesses are those that recognize the value and seek to achieve a diverse and inclusive workforce, including those individuals with disabilities. As a consulting firm, Accenture noted in its research, the disability inclusion advantage, companies that embrace best practices for employing and supporting more persons with disabilities in their workforce have outperformed their peers. And research also has proven that employees with disabilities offer tangible benefits, including increased innovation, improved productivity, and better work environments. So for those reasons and more, as we strive to ensure we are inclusive in our efforts to deliver workforce services and to provide new economic opportunities for job seekers, workers, and businesses, our network is committed to assisting Floridians with disabilities among our customers. And as I said before, I am so fortunate to work as part of a network of thousands of passionate and dedicated workforce development professionals and board member volunteers throughout Florida. One of the ways our state board advances its priorities is providing strategic funding, strategic initiative funding to local workforce development boards. And many of these boards have used these funds to directly support assisting Floridians with disabilities seeking to connect to quality employment. For example, at CareerSource Palm Beach County, who I hear is joining us today, they've used funding provided by the CareerSource Florida Board of Directors as part of its Pathways to Prosperity initiative. They've developed a hospitality training program that provided 6 weeks of training that followed the Hotel and Lodging Association guidelines and a 6 weeks paid internship that oftentimes led to a permanent job. Graduates of the program received industry recognized certifications in front desk and customer service, in room attendant, and in maintenance. And CareerSource Palm Beach County also has a very successful Ticket to Work program. And most recently, 38 Floridians with disabilities have been placed into employment. One of their recent successes I'd love to share with you is a young man with autism who was hired as a driver for the local Amazon distribution center, earning $15 an hour, starting pay with excellent benefits. And his strong work ethic, including his attention to detail, has made him a favorite employee, and he loves his new job. He's on his way to the job that turns into a meaningful career that leads to prosperity. CareerSource Palm Beach County also holds an annual conference known as REACH that informs and educates HR professionals and company executives about how to hire and work with people with disabilities. And that's just a few examples from just one of our incredibly innovative and successful local workforce development board partners. This kind of work is underway across the state, and there are many examples. But today, I am fortunate to have leaders from CareerSource Gulf Coast and CareerSource Flagler Volusia here to share their own local perspective about their teams work to connect employers with career seekers with disabilities to diversify and strengthen their workforces. I'm honored to introduce Kim Bodine, President and CEO of CareerSource Gulf Coast, and Robin King, President and CEO of CareerSource Flagler Volusia, to take a few minutes and discuss their local programs, services, and partnerships, as well as opportunities for collaboration. These leaders are incredible women that I consider myself fortunate to know. They're trusted advisors to me and trusted across the state as leaders in our system. So both of them, like CareerSource Palm Beach County, the programs are often noted nationally as best practices. So today I will start with Robin King, the CEO of CareerSource Flagler Volusia. Like I said, an esteemed and passionate leader in our state. So Robin, would you like to share with us your experience?
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to share a few success stories with you. While we have always worked with our community partners in serving individuals with disabilities, we strengthened our commitment to specialized inclusive workforce services about 5 years ago, hiring a navigator specifically to help job seekers with disabilities achieve their employment goals. The first specific program we implemented was the STARS program, Succeeding Through Achieving Retail Sales, STARS. In the spring of 2018, CareerSource Flagler Volusia replicated a model with Walgreens that they had designed in Connecticut for a 3-week job coaching program. In this partnership, CareerSource Flagler Volusia provides the initial screening for candidates, the job coaches, case management, wraparound support services, and placement services upon completion if they're not hired directly by Walgreens. Walgreens trains our job coaches, provides the training space, completes the second round of screening for the candidates, and provides first employment opportunities for their vacant positions. We jointly create the training schedule and come to consensus on the trainees accepted into the program. This was a program developed by Walgreens to address diversity and inclusion and to create a talent pipeline in a variety of occupations. CareerSource Flagler Volusia, as Michelle just mentioned, we received 2 grants, one from CareerSource Florida State Board and the other from the Able Trust Foundation. Those grants provided momentum in the implementation And we are sustaining the program now through revenue received through the Ticket to Work initiative. The other highlight I have for you this morning wasn't necessarily designed to serve specifically individuals with disabilities, but because it's an alternative to traditional education, it has an inclusive element. CareerSource Flagler Volusia, in partnership with our local state college, Daytona State College, and the Community Services Block Grant Partner, provide GED classes and testing at no cost at one of our career centers. Henry, a 17-year-old, came to us in the fall of 2018 to get his GED. Henry has autism, and even though he's extremely intelligent, he did not thrive in a traditional educational high school setting. Through this braided funded initiative, Henry was able to earn his GED. His GED score was in the top 3% in the country, high enough to earn college credits. He received a scholarship offer from Stetson University here in our county. Currently, we have a student in our GED class with cerebral palsy. She's in her early 20s, and even though she did attend high school, she didn't achieve a regular high school diploma. Our classes allow her the flexibility to attend in this non-traditional setting where she's more comfortable now that she's moved from a scooter to her wheelchair. She's making great progress. These examples to me highlight that in the foundation of successfully serving our community, collaboration and listening to voices unheard are cornerstone. We're committed to continuing to find avenues and resources to serve all of our community, especially in these times. I don't know if you've seen McKinsey & Company reported this week that diverse employees are struggling the most during COVID-19. So I am pleased and just happy to see that there's so many of us who are focused on an inclusive economic recovery opportunities. So thank you, Michelle, for the opportunity to talk with you this morning.
Thank you, Robin. The local perspective of what this means to individuals in your communities and to the business community in your area is meaningful here. I'm also pleased to welcome Kim Bodine with CareerSource Gulf Coast, also a trusted, experienced leader in Florida's workforce system. Kim, are you with us today?
I am. Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Good. Thanks, Michelle. And I want to thank CareerSource Florida. They have made it easier for workforce boards to support some of the programming and pilot programs for us to be able to partner more closely with organizations that are supporting those with disabilities. And we were fortunate enough to get a grant through the CareerSource Florida board for an emerging initiative where we partnered with our local ARC. This is something that on our regular funding would have been more difficult for us to do. So the way that Michelle works with her board and the way that they understand the things that we're trying to do in our communities is very supportive and helpful, and we appreciate that. We also are a Ticket to Work board. We've offered the Ticket to Work program for many years. I think currently we have about 45 active participants on Ticket to Work, and then we have another 70 that we're doing the quarterly follow-ups with. So we have a very active Ticket to Work program. But I sort of try to rotate my membership on boards in the community because I think it's important for me to know what other nonprofits are doing, and especially those who have the same goals that we do about getting individuals attached to good jobs. And so I went on to the ARC board here locally, and we started talking about the needs in the community, how many jobs were open in different fields, and the kinds of things we were seeing as students were aging out of secondary into post-secondary education. We have a pretty large population here of kids who are aging out of programs in the high school that are on the autism spectrum. And so in doing a sort of a gap analysis and looking at what we have and what we could do with it, the ARC had a commercial grade kitchen. Almost all of our high schools have culinary programs. The State College has a culinary program as well, with both a certificate program and an AS degree program. But what we found was a lot of our individuals that had intellectual disabilities weren't really enrolling in those programs. We have a huge number of jobs in the food service and lodging industry because, you know, a large part of our economy is in tourism. So working as a facilitator with the ARC and the college, we were able to have them help us develop a curriculum We were able to have an advisory board put together for restaurateurs and the head of the culinary program at the college. And we wrote for a grant with CareerSource Florida. And they gave us a grant. We have 18 months with the grant. We are graduating our last class of participants on December 4th. We have trained 18 students over this 18-month period. As you can imagine, a lot of the training is hands-on. And of course, we do work with knives and hot stoves and things like that. So the classes are small. But the pilot grant has done everything that I could have hoped for. It helped us be able to work through curriculum and modify it to the students as we were recruiting students into the program. We've modified and changed it a couple of times. I think now that the curriculum is perfect. It includes, not just instructional, which is about 4 half days of instruction, but it also includes 4 half days of kitchen labs. And it's 12 instructional weeks, and then there's 4 weeks of an internship at the end of it. We have had no students drop out of the program, even during COVID. We were able to work through that and do some things virtually, and then have students come in individually to get training and lessons on their own. And then, of course, the employers are just thrilled with the program. We have had I wish that I could say we've had the kind of comments we get from employers for all of the people that we place in jobs, but our employers are so pleased with the students who graduate from this program. They come out with a safe staff certification, so it's a vocational training for them. And what we hear often over and over again is that they love the participants that come through this program because they are happy every day at work. There is not a day, no matter how bad it is, that they aren't excited to be working. And so, that's what that was the priority goal for the program: inclusion and integration into the workforce. Everyone wants a purpose to wake up in the morning. Everyone wants to feel like they're part of a team. And of course, everyone loves to earn some money. So it's just been phenomenal results. In the last 4 months, it's allowed getting the curriculum set and getting a good certified chef in there to provide the training. They've been able to negotiate with vocational rehab a rate to continue with this program moving forward, so that they will recognize the program and sponsor it with tuition for individuals who are requesting training of this kind through vocational rehab. So I feel like the pilot did everything that it could have and more. And of course, we're working with these students, and it gives our students that are aging out of high school that have intellectual disabilities the chance to go into a training program that's better suited for them than the training that's being offered currently in the area. And I don't think there will ever be a shortage of jobs for them in the food service industry or lodging industry here. So I think it's been a win-win. And I would just say that in our regular interactions with our Ticket to Work program, we have individuals in a variety of training programs. But I would say also that I think the thing that's the most valuable to them is the interaction they have with their counselor at our center to talk to them about the things that they're facing, how the training's going, and how their job placements are going. And it's just, it's just a part of our everyday activities. And it's something that I can't imagine us not doing. Michelle,
Thanks.
I'm open to any questions or feedback.
Thanks, Kim. I was struggling with getting myself off of mute. I would like to pause there and offer the opportunity for any questions for our local board leaders who have joined us today. I've seen a couple of other names pop up from CareerSource Palm Beach County as well, and I'm sure they'd be happy to answer any questions about these programs or other efforts that are occurring at the local workforce development boards across the state. Okay. Well, we will certainly have time at the conclusion of my remarks for additional questions. So Thank you again, ladies, for joining us today. I think that perspective of how this impacts your communities is incredibly helpful for today's conversation. Another area I wanted to touch on today is what this incredible COVID-19 pandemic experience has meant for Florida's workforce system. And as we started to live this experience, some in February, certainly in early March and throughout the summer, the impacts could be overwhelming. And even the CareerSource Florida Board of Directors knew that we had a critical role to assisting and continuing services available through the workforce system. So it became necessary for us to rely on a framework for thinking about our opportunities to assist as we went through this experience. And early on, the Florida Chamber and the Florida Chamber Foundation helped by making available some information related to McKinsey & Company of how they were characterizing their response to the pandemic. And these were then known as the 4 R's. Relieve, what were the immediate actions we needed to take to begin to relieve some of the stresses on Florida's workforce system? Restart, what can we think about in terms of workforce development to begin to restart Florida's economy? Recover, of course, how do we pivot to ensure the greatest opportunities for recovery? And then the most exciting one to me is how do we harness all of these disruptions for the reimagination of Florida's workforce system and what we can do to assist. And I'm so proud that throughout this COVID-19 experience, the CareerSource Florida network never stopped working. Even when they were faced with the opportunities to transition to virtual service this past spring, and then a hybrid of appointment services and a combination of in-person and virtual, they transitioned seamlessly. And in fact, services to businesses, services to job seekers were uninterrupted through the pandemic. And in fact, many of our local workforce boards tell us they've actually received or experienced an increase in their service to businesses year over year as compared to this time last year. So as we thought about this framework to guide our efforts towards recovery, it's let us know that the future of work is here. We have for many years anticipated how automation, how IT, how changes in the workforce and changes in workplaces would influence the future of work. But COVID-19 thrust it right into our laps. And nobody knew that at the start of 2020, when we had a growing economy and strong job creation, record low unemployment, that this pandemic would usher in a health and economic crisis that we had not foreseen. And the word unprecedented seems to be used a lot now, but I think that's because there is no other word to describe this fast evolving period of global disruption and economic shock. But these extraordinary times has forced us to reimagine and then reinvent how and where we work, how we educate and train students and workers, and how businesses adapt for products and services. So it has certainly accelerated the pace of change for the future of work. And it's asked us to consider what must be done now to weather ever shifting and dramatic changes to get Floridians back to work, to help businesses recover and chart their paths to economic stability and growth, and to think about what today's new normal means and what tomorrow's future normal will look like to help build economic resiliency. Our partners at the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity have noted that the economic shock has resulted in younger people and those with less education being more likely to have lost employment income or to not be employed due to the pandemic. And according to the department, between 53 to 60% of Floridians who had lost income had less than a high school education or had earned a high school diploma or GED. And by comparison, 40% of those with a bachelor's degree or higher experience a similar loss. And age is a factor of disproportionate impact as well. 65% of those between the ages of 18 and 24 experienced job and loss, job and income loss. We also have data that shows us that there is a disproportionate impact on women and people of color. So what this tells us is that these impacts further underscore the importance of your work to provide post-secondary educational access and opportunities to students with disabilities that increases opportunities for employment and resiliency. This has also challenged us to consider new or enhanced opportunities to connect job seekers to training and to work. And for example, we talked briefly about work-based learning opportunities earlier. So those opportunities such as internships and apprenticeships are a valuable way to enhance economic opportunities and to close that opportunity gap that exists for underrepresented and underserved groups. As part of our efforts to expand registered apprenticeship in Florida, we have been engaged with the Florida Department of Education. We, in fact, focused and had a work group that recommended Florida take a closer look at creating a plan for expanding apprenticeships for underrepresented groups, including Floridians with disabilities. So now there is a 2-year national pilot program known as AIM, or Apprenticeship Inclusion Models, that's funded by the U.S. Department of Labor and is offering apprenticeship opportunities for youth and adults with disabilities, working with big successful companies like Amazon and Microsoft. The bottom line is that we continue the work to rebuild our state's economy and to ensure our state has a work-ready, skilled workforce. We must consider expanding our toolbox of training opportunities. Our economic recovery must be inclusive, and the path to good jobs that support economic mobility and prosperity must be a path that offers opportunities to all job seekers. And as y'all know, last month was National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and I had the privilege of co-authoring a newspaper op-ed with my good friend and one of our best partners, Tony Carvajal, who is the president and CEO of the ABLE Trust. So we use this opportunity to encourage businesses that are rebounding and growing not to overlook an important and sometimes hidden talent pool, Floridians with disabilities, as they are hiring. We also highlighted the many benefits of an inclusive workforce. And finally, one of the ways that we have continued to extend the reach of our network's efforts during this pandemic is reaching out to job seekers and businesses to let them know how we can help during this, again, unprecedented time. We're doing that through our Help Us Here outreach effort. This effort was created from CareerSource Florida's need to connect with hiring and struggling employers and to Floridians who had lost their jobs due to the pandemic, including many who have not been aware of the workforce system and its services before now. This was an opportunity to help connect those individuals who had never been exposed to the services that are available or how the workforce system could help them relaunch and reimagine their own careers. Excuse me. Our emphasis was to provide a resource for up-to-the-minute information, which is important when the world around us was changing every day and is still changing today. This helped us reach people with the offer of help and many times the offer of hope in this difficult time. So that I hope after spending some time with me and my workforce system colleagues this morning, you'll consider ways to join us in our work and to connect even more Floridians with disabilities to employment and career development opportunities. I am confident that together and through more intentional collaboration, we can continue to enhance education, training, and employment opportunities for this very important talent pool. And again, I want to thank Robin and Kim for joining me today and appreciate the opportunity and would certainly love to take any questions that our participants have.
Great. There are no questions in the chat room right now, ladies. But colleagues, please feel free to ask questions. Looks like we have one. Thank you for the presentation from Christopher Rodriguez.
Y'all are letting me off too easy today.
You know, a lot of questions that we've had since the pandemic is really those work-based experiences and opportunities virtually. How do we help students, particularly our population is very vulnerable, as you know. So in helping institutions shift to that level of resource immediately, we have a few of our students who were not able to graduate because of their final internships are not being able to be met. And then hampered a little because some of those work-based experiences couldn't be converted to virtual. Do you have some suggestions or recommendation for colleagues as they're listening?
I think that the opportunity is there to be agile, to help identify perhaps some options with employers that are open to work-based learning opportunities. It is a difficult time, and I am understanding of that, but the ability to maybe design specific solutions with what that employer can execute during this time, because those work-based learning experiences are so critical. I often get to say that your first job or your work-based learning opportunity is where you learn those basic skills that can be translated to any occupation in any sector. So those foundational opportunities provided through programs like work-based learning, on-the-job training, provide skills and abilities that will serve that individual for many years to come.
There is a question. Was the 2-year apprenticeship you mentioned offered through the Department of Labor?
Sure, it's a new opportunity that is facilitated at the national level. I'll be happy to send to whoever's asking the question a little bit more specific opportunity, but what it demonstrates is the expansion of apprenticeship opportunities and the widening talent pool that we see available for these kinds of opportunities. What has been different in Florida is the ability to innovate in apprenticeships in ways that we haven't seen before, both by expanding those opportunities, ensuring that we are inclusive and providing those opportunities, and even seeking to develop apprenticeship programs in industries that haven't traditionally used apprenticeship programs. So we have seen the growth of apprenticeship programs in areas like IT and healthcare. Critical to that, however, is ensuring those opportunities are available to all individuals. So I'll be happy to send a little bit more specific information about that apprenticeship program.
Okay, yes, that was Galen Daniels. So hopefully you'll be able to reach out. Another one is, who would be our direct contact in Miami-Dade to get resources for our students? This is with Robert Morgan Educational Center and Technical College. And this is from Ada. I know I do it wrong every time, but there was another question, and we would like to find how to reach out to paid and unpaid internships for our top students. So she actually had 2 questions. And I see Adrian has put out a response too.
And I can't see the chat from where I am, so you'll have to bear with me. But I would love to connect the question to CareerSource South Florida, who has also been a pioneer in programs that are available to youth populations. So there are some significant, I think, growing opportunities in those areas. And I missed the second part of the question, but if it's in the chat, I can go back to that.
Yeah. Adrian mentioned for Ada to please reach out to the local workforce development board in your community to explore potential opportunities. In Miami-Dade, please reach out to CareerSource South Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she also, Adrian also posted, AIM is a national pilot funded by the U.S. Department of Labor in states other than Florida at this time. So some good information. People thanking you, saying it's great information. Any other questions? Ask now or forever hold your peace.
Or feel free to shoot me an email. All my contact information is up on the screen right here. I'm happy to, as you reflect on today's conversation, to continue a dialogue. This is an important one and one that we need to be very mindful of.
Yes. Well, Michelle and colleagues, we thank you so much. We can hang around and see if anyone else may think of a question. I have one they weren't able to post in the chat or say. But other than that, we will look forward to your planning time, and we'll see everyone at the team report outs tomorrow. Make sure you take a look at the order in which you're reporting, which would be fantastic. And we hope some of the information you gained from this session as well as another was helpful in your team planning and designing your goals and plans. Okay. Just more thank yous. All right, I'll stop recording. Or Iris, you can stop recording. I think she's still.